Live streaming is on.
The reality of living with moderate to severe ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease means you might be dealing with a lot of symptoms.
Live streaming. Live streaming.
Christmas is coming up, desktop animation. And for those of you looking for a program, so Xno is available in the user repositories. If you're not using Arch, Xno may or may not be available for you in your Linux distribution repos, but you can build it from source. It's very easy. Xno, it has animated snow that falls on your monitors. If you're using multi-monitors, you can set it to specific monitors. Also, the snow does not cover up your application windows. It actually accumulates at the top of the windows. A really nice effect. Also, you can add sound. Christmas is coming up in a week. Many parts of the world, many of you guys that are running Linux, you're not using Arch, may or may not be available to you. You build it for so monitors, you can set it distribution that has the Excel is available in the repository. Anna and Rain, birds, for program to do. So as animated all the accumulates it. So you can speed up animations. It's a really neat places. No, we need you guys that are
Hamburger, cheeseburger, Big Mac, Big Mac, Big Mac, Big Mac, Whopper, 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 hamburger, cheeseburger, Big Mac 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 Whopper, Big Mac Whopper, Big Mac, hamburger, cheeseburger, Big Mac Whopper, hamburger, cheeseburger, Big Mac Whopper, hamburger, cheeseburger, Big Mac Whopper, yeah, Mac Whopper, Big Mac Whopper, hamburger, cheeseburger, Big Mac Whopper, hamburger, cheeseburger, Big Mac Whopper, hamburger, cheeseburger, Big Mac Whopper,
I'm around with my crew just chillin'. We're fucking white, but that ain't no feeling. And all of a sudden I get this rumbling feeling. It's my stomach, it's telling me I need to be grilling. Some hamburgers, you know that big fat and juicy. The ones that be having you licking your lips profusely. And then you take a bite and you no longer feel down. That taste of perfection in your mouth you can't frown. Life's so good when you eat a burger. It's so unhealthy, it's like artery murder. But you don't even care cause it tastes so good. It's like
hamburger, hamburger, hamburger.
the Minecraft version. Last Christmas, I gave you my diamonds, but the very next day, you threw them away. This year, to save me from tears, I'll make you a tax. Last Christmas, I gave you my diamonds, but the very next day, you threw them away. This year, to save me from tears, I'll make me a diamond pickaxe. I was running from 6 diamonds. I kept my cool, but the lava still catches my eye. Tell me, Crater, do you recognize me? Well, it's been a week, it doesn't surprise me. Mary Minecraft, I built a house and furnished it with a goat pocket and a friendly parent. Now I don't want to do again, but I know myself again. Last Christmas, I gave you my diamonds, but the very next day, you threw them away. This year, to save me from tears, I'll make me a diamond shovel. Dungeon, cyphers creeping. I can't hide from them. I'm start freezing. If I was a creeper right behind me, well, I guess it was just another zombie. An enderman stuck in his hands. He stole it from my house, and I lost a friend. Now more diamonds, I won't be fooled again. Last Christmas, I gave you my diamonds, but the very next day, you threw them away. This year, to save me from tears, I'll make me a diamond sword. Last Christmas, I gave you my diamonds, but the very next day, you threw them away. This year, to save me from tears, I'll make me a diamond shovel. Last Christmas, I gave you my diamonds, but the very next day, you threw them away. This year, to save me from tears, I'll make me a diamond pickaxe. Last Christmas, diamond. After all, I'm
Please subscribe. Welcome to another video from explainingcomputers.com. This time I'm going to demonstrate various ways to configure Windows 11 so that it operates, well, a bit more like the way some of us would like it to operate. And specifically, I'm going to start out by delving into the settings before moving on to some more fundamental registry hacks. Right, here we are in a clean copy of Windows 11 Home with its default settings. And the first thing I'm going to do, both to make things easier to see in this video, and because I always do it anyway, is to scale up both the interface and its fonts. So we'll go down to the Start menu and we'll go to Settings, where we'll default straight into System, as you can see over there, and we'll go to Display, where I'm going to set a scale factor of 150%, like that. And immediately things are larger on the screen, but I'd like my fonts even larger, but I'm not going to do that by changing the scale factor to make it any bigger, because that can interfere with the operation of some programs. Rather, I'm going to go across to Accessibility over there, and we'll go to Text Size, and I'm going to put the text size up to, I think, about 120%.
Christmas is coming up in about a week, and of course, in many parts of the world, the weather's turning colder, many places it's snowing. Many of you guys that are running Linux are looking for a nice wintry desktop animation effect. And for those of you looking for a program to do this, there is one available. It's called Xsnow. Now, all you need is a Linux desktop distribution that has the X11 display server installed. Xsnow is available in the Arch user repositories. If you're not using Arch, Xsnow may or may not be available for you in your Linux distribution repos, but you can build it from source. It's very easy. Xsnow has animated snow that falls on your monitors using multi-monitors. You can set it for specific monitors. Also, the snow does not cover up your application windows. It actually accumulates at the top of the window. It's a really nice effect. Also, you can add Santa and reindeer. You can add birds flying around to the screen. You can add transparency. You can speed up the animations. It's a really neat little program that many of you guys don't know about. Happy holidays, guys.
Obviously select what you want when that comes up. But now we've got removable storage plugged into our computer. How can we eject it when we finish using it?
Well, we're talking about the world where it's turning colder, many places it's snowing. Many of you guys that are running Linux are looking for a nice.
We don't. The icon is here in the taskbar overflow. But what we can do is to grab the eject icon, there it is, and to drag it down to the taskbar like that. So to eject the media, I can just click on that and eject straight away. And then it disappears like that. But just to prove it works, if I remove the USB drive and plug it in again like that, this time the eject icon will always be displayed.
Transparency, you can speed up the animation. It's a really neat little
program.
We'll now turn our attention to
privacy and turning off product recommendations and even adverts that you might not want to see.
The weather is turning colder. Many places it's snowing. Many of you guys that are running Linux are looking for a nice wintry desktop animation effect. And for those of you looking for a program to do this, there is one available. It's called Xsnow. Now, all you need is a Linux desktop distribution that has the X11 display server installed. Xsnow is available in the Arch user repositories. If you're not using Arch, Xsnow may or may not be available for you in your Linux distribution repos, but you can build it from source. It's very easy. Xsnow, it has animated snow that falls on your monitors. If you're using multi-monitors, you can set it to specific monitors. Also, the snow does not cover up your application windows.
First of all, we're going to go in System
Windows, a really nice effect. Also, you can add Santa and reindeer. You can add birds flying around to the screen. You can add transparency. You can speed up the animation. It's a really neat little program that many of you guys don't know about. Happy holidays, guys.
How I can set up my device. I do not want that. And get tips and suggestions
coming up in
when I
about a
use
week.
Windows.
The world, the weather's turning colder. Many places it's snowing. Many of you guys that are running Linux are looking for a nice wintry desktop animation effect. And for those of you looking for a program to do this, there is one available. It's called Xsnow. Now, all you need is a Linux desktop distribution that has the X11 display server installed. Xsnow is available in the Arch user repositories. If you're not using Arch, Xsnow may or may not be available for you in your Linux distribution repos, but you can build it from source. It's very easy. Xsnow, it has animated snow that falls on your monitors. If you're using multi-monitors, you can set it to specific monitors. Also, the snow does not cover up your application windows. It actually accumulates at the top of the windows. A really nice effect. Also, you can add Santa and reindeer. You can add birds flying around to the screen. You can add transparency. You can speed up the animations. It's a really neat little program that many of you guys don't know about. Happy holidays, guys.
The goal is not to work for some Fortune 500 company writing software.
Christmas is coming up in about a week.
The goal is basically
many places it's snowing. Many of you guys that are running Linux
as I say in the video, I'll repeat
desktop animation effect.
in a different way.
Like program to do this, there is one available. It's called Xsnow.
Being
now,
able to
all you
write
need is a Linux desktop distribution that has the X11 display server installed. Xsnow is available in the Arch user repositories. If you're not using Arch, Xsnow may or may not be available for you in your Linux distribution repos, but you can build it from source. It's very easy. Xsnow, it has animated snow that falls on your monitors. If you're using multi-monitors, you can set it to specific monitors. Also, the snow does not cover up your application windows. It actually accumulates at the top of the windows. A really nice effect. Also, you can add Santa and reindeer. You can add birds flying around to the screen. You can add transparency. You can speed up the animation. It's a really neat little program that many of you guys don't know about. Happy holidays, guys.
Some people misunderstood this video to mean that I'm
Chris is
for
talking
what
about
is
we-
falsely
in many parts of
called
the world, the weather's
freelancing.
turning colder. In many places, it's snowing. Many of you guys that are running
Now,
Linux
I
are
am
looking
for
for a nice
freelancing
wintry
in
desktop
its
animation
truest
effect.
definition of the
And for
word,
those of you
but
looking for a program to do this,
a
there is
lot
one
of
available.
people
It's called Xno.
misunderstand that
Now,
term
all you
to
need is a
mean,
Linux desktop distribution that has the XO11 display
instead
server
of
installed. Xno
working for
is
a
available in the Arch
company
user
as a
repositories. If you're not using Arch,
wagee,
Xno may
as
or may not be
someone
available for you
who's
in your Linux
getting,
distribution repos, but you can build it from source. It's very easy. Xno, it has animated snow that falls on your monitors.
like
There's
an
multi-monitors. You can set it to specific monitors.
I'm
Also,
gonna
the snow
work
does
for a
not cover up your
company
application windows. It
as a
actually accumulates at the top of the
freelancer.
windows. A really nice effect.
All right?
Also, you can add Santa
Now,
and reindeer. You can add
I
birds
don't
flying
have
around
any
to the screen.
opinions
You
about
can
that.
add
I've never
transparency.
done
You can speed
something
up the
like that.
animations.
I
It's a
don't
really
know
neat
how
little program that many of you
different it
guys
is
don't know
from
about. Happy
working
holidays,
as
guys.
a wagee, as a W-2 employee. Maybe there's an advantage, maybe there's not, but that's not what I'm talking about. Because I'm not talking about you doing exactly the same job you would work as an
and for those of you looking for a program to do this, there is one available. It's called Xno. Now, all you need is a Linux desktop distribution that has the XO11 display server installed. Xno is available in the Arch user repositories. If you're not using Arch, Xno may or may not be available for you in your Linux distribution repos, but you can build it from source. It's very easy. Xno, it has animated snow that falls on your monitors. You're using multi-monitors. You can set it to specific monitors. Also, the snow does not cover up your application windows. It actually accumulates at the top of the windows. A really nice effect. Also, you can add Santa and reindeer. You can add birds flying around to the screen. You can add a transparency. You can speed up the animations. It's a really neat little program that many of you guys don't know about. Happy holidays, guys.
On the internet nowadays can be just a simple web page that is connecting to different APIs. You're just connecting to services, right?
And for those of you looking for a
And
program
what
to
I
do this,
mean
it's one
by
available.
that,
It's
I
called
mean,
Xno.
like
Now, all you need is a
the site that I have, okay? So I have a site, LindyPress. Why am I typing in Greek? LindyPress.net, right? So this site is a glorified joining of APIs that
I wanted to ask your
gives
opinion on
me
something because I'm kind of
basically
unsure of what direction I want to go regarding
So,
some of the software
what
I've been
this
working on
site
here
is,
in
you
recent
go
weeks,
here. Now,
particularly
I
on my
make
desktop. I
these
spent
books, I
much of
typeset
today
them.
working
They're
on
out of
this little
print books.
welcome application for
They're, I
DDoS.
think,
It'll be
some of
called
them are out of
DDoS
print,
Hub.
some of
But
them
one of the things
aren't.
I was adding here in the last
I
few days,
think
this
you can
additional
still get
software tab where I'll have
meditations
categories
and
like web, audio, games,
constellations.
yada, yada, yada. And you can
You
have
can find them in
various
print. I'll
popular
deal with
programs that I think many people, especially new to Linux, will
maybe
probably
you can
want and
find
won't know
them.
how to get,
I'm not
especially
quite sure.
some proprietary applications for
Either way,
Discord.
so
Now, I've always been of the
this
opinion
site is
that
a
Linux distributions really should only ship
glorified
free and open source software
linking of
by default where
different
possible.
APIs.
And
So
obviously, you can't have
handles all
everything be
the
free and open source software because sometimes there's just no
typical
free and open source
stuff,
alternatives to certain things. For example,
sales tax
drivers.
in
Sometimes you
some
have to use
cases and
proprietary
all this
graphics
other
drivers,
stuff.
Wi-Fi drivers because there's not an open source driver for certain types of hardware. But as far as most applications on a GNU/Linux system, I think they should all be free and open source. You should ship with free and open source web browsers, office suites, video players, audio players, things like that. But I know many people don't care about free and open source versus proprietary software. They're okay using proprietary software. I'm not one of those people, but I know some people just don't care. And I want to make sure that they can install proprietary applications like Discord, for example, or I go into the video category of DaVinci Resolve or whatever it is they want. And I think that kind of makes sense. But one of the things I did on video the other day was I was showing some of the programs that get installed in the DTOS installation script. And one of the guys pointed out in the comments that one of the fonts that I have installed by default on DTOS is not licensed under a free license. And when he pointed this out, I actually was not aware of that because Joy Pixels is the font he pointed out. It's one of the standard fonts. It's in the Arch repositories, just the standard Arch repositories. And I assumed because it's in the Arch repo, it was probably free and open source software. Now, Arch is not one of these staunch free software distributions like, for example, Debian. Debian will not put anything proprietary in their standard repositories. They just don't do it. Arch doesn't care. Right? Matter of fact, one of the programs I just showed you, Discord, which is of course proprietary software, is in the standard Arch repository. So they will put some proprietary stuff in their repos. Apparently, Joy Pixels is licensed under a proprietary license. Now, proprietary fonts. Do people really care about that? Had I known it was proprietary, I might have looked for a different alternative. But I do know in DTOS, one of the font packages that I installed out of the box is the Microsoft fonts. I packaged that up for the DTOS core repository because I know the Microsoft core fonts are one of those font packages everybody installs. Because if you don't, many websites are going to look like garbage because they expect most people to be using Windows. Most of those websites were designed to use a lot of those Microsoft Windows fonts. So it's kind of a tricky situation. You know, there are proprietary fonts at the end of the world. No, not really. It's not like it's a proprietary program that's running some scripts or something on your computer that could be doing something nefarious like spying on you or mining for Bitcoin. Right? It's a font, but still, would I prefer that to be licensed under a free license? Absolutely. So really, I think what I want to ask you guys are any of you that know about free open source software movements, right? You know about free software and the full freedoms, and you actually care about it. If you don't care about free open source software versus proprietary, your opinion really doesn't matter on this. I won't say your opinion doesn't matter, but if you don't care about it, then it doesn't matter.
Maybe you don't know
people that do care because those of us that do support free software, open source software, not all of us do it to the same degree, and many of us have different opinions on what's okay and what's not okay. Like I just said, I don't mind distributions shipping proprietary software if there's not a free and open source alternative. For example, if you were trying to make a Linux distribution that was a gaming Linux specifically for hardcore gamers, there's no free and open source thing like Steam is Steam. It's proprietary. I get that. I wouldn't trash any Linux distribution. The problem I have is when distributions start installing stuff like Google Chrome has a default web browser, right, which is proprietary. I know it's the most popular web browser on the planet, but when we have such great open source browsers like Brave and Chromium and Firefox, Google browser, I've got a lot listed here. You know, that will eventually be part of this DTOS welcome application. I think GNU/Linux distributions really need to be promoting the open source applications when they can. You know, if people want to install the proprietary applications, don't prevent them. Matter of fact, provide links to some of the popular proprietary applications for the people that really need it. I don't want to prevent anybody from running proprietary software. It's just I would like to introduce more free open source software to people where possible. But for those of you that support the free software movement, the open source movement, what are your thoughts? Are you okay with Linux distributions shipping proprietary software where there's actually free open source alternatives that are viable? For example, there's many distributions that ship Google Chrome as a web browser out of the box. There's many distributions that ship proprietary Office suites out of the box. And even though LibreOffice free open source software is really good, you know, they go in these proprietary directions. And of course, I've made some compromises myself with DTOS. I have those Microsoft core fonts and the Joy Pixels fonts installed out of the box. They're not licensed under a free license. If you care about the free open source software movement, are you okay with my decision in that? Or if you're not, I mean, is there an alternative? Because there's no real alternative for fonts. Like Microsoft core fonts, many websites depend on those fonts to render correctly.
is it the end of the world if a website, doesn't have the great fonts and looks a little weird? For most people, no, but especially if it's a new to Linux user, and that's kind of what I'm thinking. People that have used one of their same websites every day, day after day, and they expect it to look a certain way because they expect Arial and Comic Sans and all those Microsoft fonts to be there, because the website's always displayed it a certain way, and now those fonts are not on a system. The website looks all jacked up, and they're not on Linux. The web browsers, these free open source web browsers, they can't even render websites right. So I'm a little torn again in some directions I want to go. That's why I'm asking your opinion. Those of you that support the free open source software movement, what are your thoughts about Linux distributions shipping proprietary software where there are free and open source applications available, free and open source alternatives to those proprietary programs? Are there occasions where you think it's okay, or are you more hardline and hey, that's never okay? I want to know in the comments down below. Before I go, I need to thank you special people. I need to thank the producers of this episode. Just engage James, Matt, Max, and Michael, Mitchell, Paul. That's why you brought me. I'm not drinking. I don't watch Ariana Alexander. Please watch Steven Jones, never really these guys. They were fantastic. Patrons over on Patreon without these guys. This episode would not have been possible. The show is also brought to you by each and every one of these fine ladies and gentlemen. All these names you're seeing on the screen right now. These are all my supporters over on Patreon. I don't have any corporate sponsors. Joe's Coffee has not called to let me know they're going to sponsor the channel. Yeah, I depend on you guys. So subscribe to this over on Patreon. All right, guys. Peace.
Do the exact same work as a corporation does as an individual. No, do not do that. There's two reasons for that. Firstly, there are some things that you need massive organization for. But you don't need to participate in that. Like, if you're trying to make it as an individual, you don't need
what window manager are you using in that video?
Secondly,
what browser do you use? People just want to know what software I use, for various tasks. And I can understand that because my YouTube channel now, in about a week or so, is going to turn 3 years old. We've actually been doing this for 3 full years. I started in October of 2017, and I made nearly 800 videos in that time. But almost none of my subscribers have been here from day one. Nobody watched video number 1 and have been here ever since. Or maybe a few of you guys, and those of you that have been here for the whole time, I do appreciate that. But most of my subscribers are probably people that just subscribed this year in 2020. Probably half of them. And a lot of those people really don't know what I use as far as the applications I use on a regular basis. So today's video is going to be talking about the software that I use. I think the place to start is window manager. So the number one question I get is ADT, what's your window manager are you using in this video, that video? I will go ahead and tell you guys, I switch window managers a lot when I'm making my videos. I'm not in the same window manager all the time when I make my videos. But if you're asking me typically what window manager do I use, chances are better than not. I'm going to be an echo. It's kind of always been my favorite. Window manager is just really complete, it's fast. The more I learn Haskell, the easier this thing is to config, and it's very extensible, very iterable, very powerful. I just love it.
That and this actually, I've had this in the past where there are a lot of people who are, I mean, think about the schools and the companies and like the people that you've known in the past year or the past couple of years who have started to use things like Zoom and all this proprietary stuff that, of course, they're existing equivalents that work well and are more extensible and stuff like that. But anyway, I don't want to ramble too much, but I will just say that the goal is not being a corporation to yourself. It is finding a need that people want. Maybe like no one, there are some needs you can create. There are some goods you can provide and people won't even realize they wanted them before then. But I guarantee you the thing about sending emails to old people, that's actually a good example. Because I will say, especially girls, okay, it is very easy to woo girls with technologically simple things that are cute. Okay, you provide them a little service like that. That's the kind of thing that a lot of normies will get behind. And so, I said somewhere else in these comments, I think it was down here, and this was less about software, but it's more about like hardware in general. I want to read this comment. Actually, now looking at this, I'm embarrassed of it because it sounds like a motivational thing. But like when you like a motivational poster or whatever. But in hardware this is cool as well. Like if you want to start your own shop, or not even a shop if you don't want to buy a business, but if you want to be an at-home computer, repairsman, it is infinitely easier than you think, right? Because most of the stuff you're going to be doing, you basically need this to hook up to a hard drive so you can back up
scammers
data.
because
it's $5 thing,
and that's you making hundreds of dollars off for these scam emails, these scam phone calls. So anytime
people come up to me because they know
an email or a phone call that's unsolicited from somebody you don't know, you didn't contact them to begin with, they contacted you, and they
the kind of thing that you can act on.
And they promise you something, or they threaten you in some way if you don't give them some kind of personal information. That's always a scam. And too many people are still falling for this. And in many cases, some of these people that are falling for these scams are really smart people. And I don't understand it. Just a couple of days ago, I came across this article. How a fake job offer took down the world's most popular crypto game. I don't know anything about this particular crypto game, but this company apparently is a big deal. So they deal with hundreds of millions or maybe even billions of dollars of cryptocurrency involved in this play to earn kind of crypto game. So even though this article is just a couple of days old, this actually happened back in March. This company, it is revealed now that they lost $540 million in crypto to a hacker, to a scammer really, who sent some emails to some of their employees about offering jobs at a fake company. And one of the employees at their company decided to apply for the job. Now, because of the sensitive nature of this, a lot of the details behind this are not known, but ultimately what happened is one of the employees at this company, they opened a PDF file that had a job offer because this job offer was amazing. It was a whole lot of fake money being offered to this guy to work for this fake company. And he fell for it, right? One of the things about scammers you have to understand is the first rule of anybody trying to run some kind of scam on somebody or trying to manipulate you in some way. Think of every politician that's ever talked to you, promised you something. You know, there's two things you always do if you're trying to scam somebody. You play on their hopes and you play on their fears, right? You play on their hopes and dreams. You promise them something amazing and they'll probably fall for it because they desire something so much they want to believe it's true even when they know it's probably not. And then, of course, you play on people's fears as well. Many people have real fear and anxiety all the time. Some people, not everybody, but a lot of people, and I'm sure you guys know this, people that are scared of everything around the corner. So when you get an email or a phone call saying that you owe, an outrageous amount of taxes because you messed up on your taxes or you did this wrong, you did that wrong, the cops are coming to arrest you, yada, yada, yada. If you don't do this, if you don't send this amount of money to this company, that's a scam. But most of the time it works because, again, so many people have these fear and anxiety issues. So that's how the scammers get you. They play on your hopes and they play on your fears. And anytime you get a phone call or email unsolicited, and you should immediately spot whether they're trying the hope or the fear method. And as soon as you recognize it's one of those two methods, it's always a scam. So in this particular case, they were playing on the hopes and dreams of these people that worked for this crypto company. So, you send somebody a job offer and this job offer is way too good to be true, but these people wanted it to be true and at least one of them fell for it. Now, obviously, a scam as big as this was probably a serious effort by a large group of people. They have this linked to a major hacking group in North Korea called Lazarus. They're well known in North Korea. And this was, a pretty elaborate setup. They had fake social media accounts. They had fake LinkedIn accounts. They had everything looked right to this guy that was actually applying for the job. And of course, he was delivered this PDF file that he downloaded. Right? And this downloaded PDF actually had spyware that infiltrated this company's systems, their crypto system, which was known as Ronin. And they have these validators on this Ronin crypto network. There's 9 validators. And if you have control of 5, which is the majority of 9, right? If you have control of 5, you pretty much can control the network. And the spyware actually gave this hacking group control of 4 of the 9 validators. So they actually needed one more. They were actually able to get that through another phishing attack on another group that was associated with this particular cryptocurrency. They don't go in the details of how they infiltrated that particular group, but they eventually got control of at least 5 of the 9 validators. And of course, that's when they were able to take $540 million worth of cryptocurrency from this company. Again, it's kind of light on details other than we know that this company was hacked, a whole bunch of money was stolen, and they do mention that the employee that applied for the fake job, which was really the catalyst behind all of this, that employee no longer works for this company, which I would hope for, because obviously he deserves to be fired for falling for the scam, but also when you're involved in a scam like this where a company has money stolen from them, you can never be sure if that person is in on it, so you always have to fire them. You can't keep somebody like that around. So assuming that this employee that was scammed, he's not some nefarious actor that was in concert with this hacking group. Let's assume that he was just a normal guy and he was legitimately duped into this. What could he have done to prevent this? Well, by now I think everyone knows never to open an attachment in an email. Never open anything, never download anything from an email, especially if it's unsolicited. If somebody you don't know, or if somebody you didn't contact to begin with sends you a file, never download it and absolutely never open it. 1000% of the time, that is spyware. And I seriously don't understand why people open these things. I'm assuming, again, fear and hope, right? There's something in the email that either plays on people's hopes and dreams, and they imagine that this attachment is going to do something for them, like the job offer, right? It's magical. Something magical is going to happen when I open the attachment, right? I'm going to get a whole lot of money in this guy's case. Many people, I think, probably think that blackjack and hookers are just magically going to explode out of these attachments when they open them, and that's not the case. Again, it's always spyware, it's always malware. Let's talk about the phone scams, because I see a lot of especially elderly people here in the U.S. fall for these phone scammers. One thing that everyone needs to know, and make sure if you have elderly parents, elderly grandparents, they know this. No one will ever call you and ask you for your social security number. No one that's legit anyway. Scammers will call and ask for that, but no one. I don't care if it's a government agency, if it's a bank, they already have your social security number. Why would they need to call you and ask you for it, right? And any company that legitimately doesn't have your social and needs it for some reason, they're going to have some kind of secure website. You go and enter that information. They're never going to ask you to disclose that information over the phone. Anyone that calls you and asks you for a social security number, 1000% of the time, that's a scammer. And again, they begin all of this by playing on hopes and fears. They tell you something, to hopefully get you to disclose this personal information you otherwise maybe would have common sense enough not to disclose. But again, they play on your hopes, they play on your fears. So the phone calls, you forgot to pay your taxes. This is the IRS. If you don't give me this information right now, I'm sending the cops to come arrest you. And it's a common kind of fear kind of tactic with these phone scammers. They threaten you that you're going to be incarcerated, that the police are coming to arrest you. Guess what? Here in the U.S., no one calls you and tells you you're going to be arrested. It never happens. You've never received a phone call from the cops saying, hey, we're coming to your house right now to arrest you, right? That's not what they do. They just show up and arrest you. Now, some of the more tricky scammers with these phone calls, what they'll do is they'll call and say you've won something, or you qualify for this or that. We need some information. You don't have to pay anything. They're not going to ask for like a credit card or anything, because that's obvious that that's a scammer. They want to steal your identity, so they want your social, they want maybe some other personal information, and they'll begin this by claiming to be some government organization or some company maybe that you dealt with in the past, and they'll give you some of your personal information to them in the call, making you think they have all of your information. But just to confirm that you're you, would you please verify your social security number for me? That's a scammer. So they'll give you personal information like your date of birth and places you've worked at and things like that. And what they do is, everyone has social media, of course. Many people have a Facebook page, so they go to your face page, and they go get your personal information, because you've already told people your birthday and where you live and all this other stuff on your Facebook page, and then they just play that back to you in the phone call. They just recite this back to you. Hey, we know all of this about you, but can you please verify it's really you by giving me your social? Don't fall for that. Ultimately, if you're worried about falling for some of these scammers, some of these hackers, the only 100% surefire way to prevent you from actually being scammed by these people is just not interacting with them at all. Never open, read, do anything with email that is from somebody you don't know and it's completely unsolicited. Don't even open it. Don't read it. Just immediately delete it. That's what I do. I don't even read the damn thing. If it's from some name, some address that I don't know, I don't bother reading it. I already know what it is. It's a scam. As far as phone calls, if somebody calls you and they're not part of your contact list, some unknown number that comes up, never answer that thing. Let it go hear your voicemail. If it's somebody that actually needed to get in contact with you, it was legit, they'll leave a voicemail, and you can go listen to the voicemail and decide to call them back. But 99 times out of 100, that was some kind of unsolicited scam call. And it's a shame that we live in a world like this, but
about,
this is the way the world has always been. There's always been these scammers, these con artists, right? These manipulators, these people that are trying to earn their money by stealing from others. These scandalous, nefarious kinds of people. They've always been with us. They'll always be with us. It just seems like it's more prevalent now because of technology, because of the use of things like email and cell phones. They're coming at you a little differently now in past years, where they actually had to con you in real life, in person. Although those people still exist as well, you should be on the lookout for them. And again, you can spot them. Hopes and fears. Anytime you come across someone, whether it be through email, through phone calls, or through real life, if they're trying to play on your hopes or your fears, they're probably a scammer, and you can probably just tell them to go jump and rotate. Now, before I go, I need to thank a few special people. I need to thank the producers of this episode: Justin, Gabe, James, Matt, Maxim, Michael, Mitchell, Paul, West, Wayne, Ball, Honey, Allen, Albert, Dragon, Chuck, Commander, Indeed, Dayoka, Dylan, Dylan, Marshall, Marion, Alexander, and Sergeant Bill, Ball, Jay, Jonathan, Spencer, Robert, Stephen, Forsberg, and Billy. I should probably re-record that, but I'm not going to. These guys, they're my highest tier patrons over on Patreon. Without these guys, this episode would not have been possible. The show is also brought to you by each and every one of these fine ladies and gentlemen. I won't name all of their names because if I messed up that shorter list of names, there's no way I'd get through this without choking. But I do appreciate each and every one of these people. These are all my supporters over on Patreon. I don't have any corporate sponsors. I'm sponsored by Media. I was the community. If you like my work and want to help me out, subscribe to DistroTube over on Patreon. These guys, go jump and rotate. I hope that doesn't get me demonetized.
40,000 a year or something like that. You know, I was working as a grad student.
One of the things I love about the community around this YouTube channel is you guys sometimes come up with some ingenious ideas that either I never would have thought to do myself, or in some cases I just don't have the skills to do myself. And one of the really cool things that someone contributed here in the last few weeks is a couple of months ago I started doing these tier list videos. The very first one I did was the text editor tier list, where I took like 15 text editors and put them in various tiers from great, good, okay, meh, and yuck. And what I did is I just did this in GIMP. I created a simple graphic in GIMP for all of the tier list rankings, and then I used the same GIMP graphic because I saved it, because I figured I'd do more tier list videos. I did another one for a tier list for tiling window managers. And I used GIMP to do this thing. And people were like, man, that's kind of crazy using GIMP for something like that. Why don't you just use a web app? So if I go over to my subreddit over at r/DistroTube, someone posted this about a week ago, 7 days ago, and you can see free and open source tier list app, and he has a GitHub repo. It's called DT-tier list, and he also went ahead and put the app on the web at this particular URL. I'll link to the URL, of course, in the show description. And this is his web app running. So I thought, this is so cool. I was so impressed with the work this guy did that I thought, in honor of him contributing this app to the community, I should make a tier list video today. Now comes the part where I need to figure out what I should try to rank as a tier list today. What kind of applications? Doing text editors is pretty easy. I've used a ton of them. Using tiling window managers, ranking them is pretty easy because I've used so many of them. What else have I used a lot of that I feel pretty comfortable I can rank a whole bunch of these things rather quickly? Terminal emulators. So please bear in mind this will be the first time I've used this web app, so if I struggle with how to use it, just keep that in mind, although I think it's pretty self-explanatory. I believe if I just started adding something, like if I added Alacrity, hit enter, it goes down here, and then I could just drag it, into the appropriate tier. That's pretty cool. Let me go ahead and plug in, I don't know, 10, 12 terminal emulators. I'm going to put all the terminal emulators that I have used extensively over the years, and also I'm going to make sure that I include some terminal emulators I've discussed on videos in the past, because I know some of you guys, if I don't include those, are going to ask me about them. So I left every terminal emulator under the sun, because honestly there's like 100 of them that are pretty commonly used on Linux. We have so many terminal emulators, so I'm not going to try to rank all of them. I'm just going to stick with the ones that I know the best, or the ones that I've covered on video in the past. So the terminals I've decided to go with, I chose 12 here. We're going to rank Alacrity, Edix UI, GNOME Terminal, QE Console, LX Terminal, Supplicys, Simple Terminal, ST, Terminal, XFCE Terminal, URX, DT, Xterm, and Yahweh. And we're going to start with Alacrity. For those of you that have been following the channel for the last, I would say, 2 to 3 years, you know Alacrity is kind of my terminal emulator of choice these days. And Alacrity has to be in the great tier. Alacrity is one of these new school kind of terminal emulators because it's GPU accelerated, which means it's blazing fast. Alacrity also is really good at rendering Unicode characters, various glyphs. It's also cross-platform, which is a big plus. And by cross-platform, I mean truly cross-platform. Windows, Mac, and Linux is typically what we think cross-platform. Alacrity has a really nice config file with a ton of options in it that you can, you can configure it to your heart's content with custom key bindings and theming and things like that. One thing about Alacrity is it's kind of minimal in design, which I like. So you don't get tabs with Alacrity. You also don't get ligature support in Alacrity, although I think they may be working on that. I've had some conflicting reports on the internet about Alacrity and ligatures. I don't use ligatures myself, but I think they have plans to eventually support ligatures. Tabs, I don't think they really plan on supporting tabs anytime soon. But to be honest, I won't really fault any of these terminal emulators if they don't have tab support or ligature support, because I think those are kind of minor things with terminal emulators, because you can get tabbing through other means. You don't necessarily need the terminal emulator itself to support tabbing. And for those wondering about adding tab support to many of these terminal emulators that don't support tabs, there's 3 ways I can think of. You could either use Supplicys tabbed program. That works, and it's one that I've used in the past. It's actually a quite nice program. Another thing you can do for a Teams user,
of having money being that which brings us together, which is comes forth from the way it is
have a tabbed kind of layout, so you can have multiple terminal emulators opened in tabs inside your window manager. That works as well. Moving on to the next terminal emulator is Edix UI. I did a video about Edix UI about 4 years ago, I would say. It was a very popular non-KYC exchange. People really found this particular terminal emulator a really neat project. It's an Electron app, and it's something really weird. The whole design of it looks kind of futuristic. It's something out of a sci-fi. Whiz-bang effects and widgets on the screen. It's not a terminal emulator like you would typically think. It's something really weird, and to me, I think it's nice as a gimmick, but the fact that it's an Electron app and the fact that, again, it's not like a normal terminal emulator, it's more for people that want to show off, or more for people that they want to have this thing running on their computer to seem like they're hackers. Edix UI.
It is easy to exploit it. It's easy for Visa and MasterCard
I would actually use as my daily driver as far as my terminal. Next up is the GNOME terminal, and for me, the GNOME terminal, I'm going to put in the OK category, or I could almost put it in the good category. It's a pretty decent terminal emulator. It really has all the basics. It has everything that I think most people would expect in a terminal emulator. It has tab support, it has URL detection, it has nice graphical menus, it has preferences, kind of category you can choose in the menu where you can easily set colors inside the terminal. You can set different color schemes, and it actually allows you to have multiple profiles in the terminal. That way different people can have their own different profile within the terminal, or the same person can have different profiles within the terminal, depending on what kind of work you're doing one day versus the next. The only thing that kind of prevents me from making GNOME terminal either good or great is the fact that it's part of the GNOME project and it's using the VTE library, which isn't the greatest as far as performance. I like things a little bit more fast, lightweight, especially if you're opening a lot of terminals all the time, like I typically am. You're probably going to want something not quite as heavy as GNOME terminal. And I'm going to put a lot of these similar applications, because there's several terminal emulators down here that are very similar to GNOME terminals as far as their GTK terminals, VTE terminals. They have a lot of the same features, functionality, and a lot of the same performance problems. I can go ahead and tell you right now, I probably put LX terminal here with it. I probably put XFCE terminal here with it, because they're all kind of really very, very similar terminal emulators. Everything I could talk about with GNOME terminal, I could say the same thing about with LX terminal and the XFCE terminal as well. So let's just go ahead and put all of those in the same category. They're okay terminals. If I had to use them, I'm fine with them. They're pretty decent terminals. If I have options to install other things, yes, there's several other other ones that I think are better choices. Next up is one of the better choices, Kitty. Kitty is very similar to Alacrity. It's one of these new school GPU accelerated terminal emulators, except where Alacrity tries to be more minimal. It does all the basic features I think most people expect a terminal emulator to do. Kitty tries to give you everything and the kitchen sink. So, you didn't get tabs or ligatures with Alacrity. Kitty is going to give you both tabs and ligatures. So that could be a positive for some people. For some people, I would say for most people, that's probably not a big deal because again, tabs and ligatures for me, not that big of a deal for a terminal emulator. I think one of the cool features with Kitty is they have this framework where you can extend Kitty. It's essentially adding your own scripts to Kitty that can be executed inside the terminal Kitty terminal. And this framework, these scripts are called kittens, which is kind of a cute name, but that's a really neat feature for a terminal emulator. Now, one downside with Kitty, it's not a downside where I would knock it out of the great tier, but I will say, as far as performance, I find Alacrity to perform a little better than Kitty as far as a little lighter, a little less RAM usage. The other thing that could be a knock on Kitty for some people, because being cross-platform is a big deal, because a lot of people have to work on Windows, Mac, and Linux, and you can get Alacrity on all three platforms. Kitty, as far as I know of, does not have a Windows version. It does have a Mac version, of course it runs on Linux. Next up is KDE's Console, and Console, I really have to put it in the good category. Now, I don't use Console that often. The only time I use Console is if I'm in a KDE distribution, and it's already installed with KDE, right? And I like the terminal. Now, the problem is I never install Console if I'm not using KDE because there's KDE dependencies to it. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But Console does so much as far as it's got a ton of features. It's got tabbing. It's got the split view mode. It does transparency well. Of course, you can change color schemes, set profiles. It has some built-in support with some other Plasma features. For example, support with the Dolphin File Manager. Again, for those using Plasma. Again, Console's kind of designed for Plasma, and that's kind of why I can't really put it in the great tier, even though feature-wise it probably belongs there. But because it's not as light and it's so tied to KDE, I gotta knock it down to just the good tier. Next up is the terminal emulator. I think I'm gonna have the hardest time ranking, and that is Supples's ST. It's a simple terminal. And ST, I still use ST. I've used ST for 4 or 5 years now. For about a year or two, I used ST as my main terminal emulator. It's that good, right? And I still have ST installed when I log into my DWM desktop environment. DWM, just trying to keep that full Suppless experience. I have ST set as the terminal for that particular window manager. For me, I think I'm going to put ST. I'm going to have to put it as a good option. There's some things that really prevent it from being great, but the things that it can do and some of the features it has, I definitely think it deserves to at least be in the good tier. So let's start with the positives. Why is it good? Well, it's light, it's fast, it renders Unicode characters and glyphs and all of that stuff really well. Depending on how you patch ST, it could have ligature support. It does not have tab support, but being a Suppless project, you typically are going to run ST inside Supples's.
XNO is available in the Arch user repositories. If you're not using Arch, XNO may or may not be available for you in your Linux distribution repos, but you can build it from source. It's very easy. XNO has animated weather that falls over many places. It's knowing many of you guys are running Linux. We're looking for a nice wintry desktop animation effect. And for those of you looking for a program to do this, there is one available. It's called XNO. Now, all you need is a Linux desktop distribution that has the X11 display server installed. XNO is available in the Arch user repositories. If you're not using Arch, XNO may or may not be available for you in your Linux distribution repos, but you can build it from source. It's very easy. XNO, it has animated snow that falls on your monitors. Using multi-monitors, you can set it to specific monitors. Also, the snow does not cover up your application windows. It actually accumulates at the top of the windows. It's a really nice effect. Also, you can add Santa and reindeer. You can add birds flying around to the screen. You can add transparency. You can speed up the animation. It's a really neat little program that many of you guys don't know about. Happy holidays, guys. Repositories. If you're not using Arch, XNO may or may not be available for you in your Linux distribution repos, but you can build it from source. It's very easy. XNO, it has animated weather that falls over many places. It's knowing many of you guys are running Linux. We're looking for a nice wintry desktop animation effect. And for those of you looking for a program to do this, there is one available. It's called XNO. Now, all you need is a Linux. Those of you looking for a program to do this, there is one available. It's called XNO. Now, all you need is a Linux desktop distribution that has the X11 display server installed. XNO. Christmas is coming up in about a week, and of course, in many parts of the world, the weather is turning colder. Many places it's snowing. Many parts of the world, the weather is turning colder. Many places it's snowing. Many of you guys are running Linux. We're looking for a nice wintry desktop animation effect. And for those of you looking for a program to do this, there is one available. It's called XNO. Now, all you need is a Linux desktop distribution that has the X11 display server installed. XNO is available in the Arch user repositories. If you're not using Arch, XNO may or may not be available for you in your Linux distribution repos, but you can build it from source. It's very easy. XNO, it has animated snow that falls on your monitors. Using multi-monitors, you can set it to specific monitors. Also, the snow does not cover up your application windows. It actually accumulates Santa and Windows. A really nice effect. Also, you can add Santa and reindeer. You can add birds flying around to the screen. You can add transparency. You can speed up the animation. It's a really neat little program that many of you guys don't know about. Happy holidays, guys. Peace. Christmas is coming up in about a week, and of course, in many parts of the world, the weather is turning colder. Many places it's snowing. The weather is turning colder. Many places it's snowing. Many of you guys are running Linux. We're looking for a nice wintry desktop animation effect. And for those of you looking for a program to do this, there is one available. It's called XNO. Now, all you need is a Linux desktop distribution that has the X11 display server installed. XNO is available in the Arch user repositories. If you're not using Arch, XNO may or may not be available for you in your Linux distribution repos, but you can build it from source. It's very easy. XNO, it has animated snow that falls on your monitors. Using multi-monitors, you can set it to specific monitors. Also, the snow does not cover up your application windows. It actually accumulates at the top of the windows. It's a really nice effect. Also, you can add Santa and reindeer. You can add birds flying around to the screen. You can add transparency. You can speed up the animation. It's a really neat little program that many of you guys don't know about. Happy holidays, guys. Peace. Christmas is coming up in about a week, and of course, in many parts of the world, the weather is turning colder. Many places the weather is turning colder. Many places it's snowing. Many of you guys are running Linux. We're looking for a nice wintry desktop animation effect. And for those of you looking for a program to do this, there is one available. It's called XNO. Now, all you need is a Linux desktop distribution that has the X11 display server installed. XNO is available in the Arch user repositories. If you're not using Arch, XNO may or may not be available for you in your Linux distribution repos, but you can build it from source. It's very easy. XNO, it has animated snow that falls on your monitors. Using multi-monitors, you can set it to specific monitors. Also, the snow does not cover up your application windows. It actually accumulates at the top of the windows. It's a really nice effect. Also, you can add Santa and reindeer. You can add birds flying around to the screen. You can add transparency. You can speed up the animation. It's a really neat little program that many of you guys don't know about. Happy holidays, guys. Peace. Christmas is coming up in about a week. Of course, in many parts of the world, the weather is turning colder. Many places it's turning colder. Many places it's snowing. Many of you guys that are running Linux are looking for a nice wintry desktop animation effect. And for those of you looking for a program to do this, there is one available. It's called Xno. Now, all you need is a Linux desktop distribution that has the X11 display server installed. Xno is available in the Arch user repositories. If you're not using Arch, Xno may or may not be available for you in your Linux distribution repos, but you can build it from source. It's very easy. Xno, it has animated snow that falls on your monitors. If you're using multi-monitors, you can set it to specific monitors. Also, the snow does not cover up your application windows. It actually accumulates at the top of the windows. A really nice effect. Also, you can add Santa and reindeer. You can add birds flying around to the screen. You can add transparency. You can speed up the animation. It's a really neat little program that many of you guys don't know about. Happy holidays, guys. Peace. Christmas is coming up in about a week. Of course, in many parts of the world, the weather is turning colder. Many places it's turning colder. Many places it's snowing. Many of you guys that are running Linux are looking for a nice wintry desktop animation effect. And for those of you looking for a program to do this, there is one available. It's called Xno. Now, all you need is a Linux desktop distribution that has the X11 display server installed. Xno is available in the Arch user repositories. If you're not using Arch, Xno may or may not be available for you in your Linux distribution repos, but you can build it from source. It's very easy. Xno, it has animated snow that falls on your monitors. If you're using multi-monitors, you can set it to specific monitors. Also, the snow does not cover up your may or may not be available for you in your Linux distribution repos.
Flying around to the screen, you can add transparency. You can speed up the animation. It's a really neat little program that many of you guys don't know about. Happy holidays, guys.
Falls on your monitors. If you're using multi-monitors, you can set it to specific monitors. Also, the weather is turning colder. Many places it's snowing. Many of you guys that are running Linux are looking for a nice wintry desktop animation effect. And for those of you looking for a program to do this, there is one available. It's called Xno. Now, all you need is a Linux desktop distribution that has the X11 display server installed. Xno is available in the Arch user repositories. If you're not using Arch, Xno may or may not be available for you in your Linux distribution repos, but you can build it from source. It's very easy. Xno, it has animated snow that falls on your monitors. If you're using multi-monitors, you can set it to specific monitors. Also, the snow does not cover up your application windows. It actually accumulates at the top of the windows. A really nice effect. Also, you can add Santa and reindeer. You can add birds flying around to the screen. You can add transparency. You can speed up the animation. It's a really neat little program that many of you guys don't know about. Happy holidays, guys. In many parts of the world, the weather is turning colder. Many places it's snowing. Many of you guys that are running Linux
the weather is turning colder. Many places it's snowing. Many of you guys that are running Linux are looking for a nice wintry desktop animation effect. And for those of you looking for a program to do this, there is one available. It's called Xno. Now, all you need is a Linux desktop distribution that has the X11 display server installed. Xno is available in the Arch user repositories. If you're not using Arch, Xno may or may not be available for you in your Linux distribution repos, but you can build it from source. It's very easy. Xno, it has animated snow that falls on your monitors. If you're using multi-monitors, you can set it to specific monitors. Also, the snow does not cover up your application windows. It actually accumulates at the top of the windows. A really nice effect. Also, you can add Santa and reindeer. You can add birds flying around to the screen. You can add transparency. You can speed up the animation. It's a really neat little program that many of you guys don't know about. Happy holidays, guys.
Falls on your monitors. If you're using multi-monitors, you can set it to specific monitors. Also, the snow does not cover up your application.
You guys are running Linux. We're looking for a nice wintry desktop animation effect. And for those of you looking for a program to do this, there is one available. It's called Xno. Now, all you need is a Linux desktop distribution that has the X11 display server installed. Xno is available in the Arch user repositories. If you're not using Arch, Xno may or may not be available for you in your Linux distribution repos, but you can build it from source. It's very easy. Xno, it has animated snow that falls on your monitors. If you're using multi-monitors, you can set it to specific monitors. Also, the snow does not cover up your application windows. It actually accumulates at the top of the windows. A really nice effect. Also, you can add Santa and reindeer. You can add birds flying around to the screen. You can add transparency. You can speed up the animation. It's a really neat little program that many of you guys don't know about. Happy holidays, guys.
In many parts of the world, the weather is turning colder. Many places it's snowing. Many of you guys that are running Linux, and of course, in many parts of the world, the weather is turning colder. Many places it's snowing. Many of you guys that are running Linux are looking for a nice wintry desktop animation effect. And for those of you looking for a program to do this, there is one available. It's called Xno. Now, all you need is a Linux desktop distribution that has the X11 it's very easy. Xno, it has animated snow that falls on your monitors. Using multi-monitors, you can set it to specific monitors. Also, the snow does not cover up your application windows. It actually accumulates at the top of the windows. It's really nice effect. Also, you can add Santa and reindeer. You can add birds flying around to the screen. You can add transparency. You can speed up the animations. It's a really neat little program that many of you guys don't know about. Happy holidays, guys. Peace.
For you,
Christmas is coming up in about a week. Of course, in many parts of the world, the weather is turning colder.
But you can build it from source. It's very easy. Xno, it has animated snow that falls on your monitors. If you're using multi-monitors, you can set it to specific monitors. Also, the snow does not cover up your application windows. It actually accumulates at the top of the windows. A really nice effect. Also, you can add Santa and reindeer. You can add birds flying around to the screen. You can add transparency. You can speed up the animation. It's a really neat little program that many of you guys don't know about. Happy holidays, guys.
Distribution that has the X11 display server installed. Xno is available in the Arch world. The weather is turning colder. Many places it's snowing. Many of you guys that are running Linux are looking for a nice wintry desktop animation effect. And for those of you looking for a program to do this, there is one available. It's called Xno. Now, all you need is a Linux desktop distribution that has the X11 display server installed. Xno is available in the Arch user repositories. If you're not using Arch, Xno may or may not be available for you in your Linux distribution repos, but you can build it from source. It's very easy. Xno, it has animated snow that falls on your monitors. If you're using multi-monitors, you can set it to specific monitors. Also, the snow does not cover up your application windows. It actually accumulates at the top of the windows. A really nice effect. Also, you can add Santa and reindeer. You can add birds flying around to the screen. You can add transparency. You can speed up the animation. It's a really neat little program that many of you guys don't know about. Happy holidays, guys.
You guys are running Linux, we're looking for a nice wintry desktop animation effect. And for those of you looking for a program to do this, there is one available. It's called Xnode. Now, all you need is a Linux desktop distribution that has the X11 display server installed. Xnode is available in the Arch user repositories. If you're not using Arch, Xnode may or may not be available for you in your Linux distribution repos, but you can build it from source. It's very easy. Xnode, it has animated snow that falls on your monitors. If you're using multi-monitors, you can set it to specific monitors. Also, the snow does not cover up your application windows. It actually accumulates at the top of the windows. A really nice effect. Also, you can add Santa and reindeer. You can add birds flying around to the screen. You can add a transparency. You can speed up the animations. It's a really neat little program that many of you guys don't know about. Happy holidays, guys. Peace.
You can add
Christmas is coming up in about a week, and of course, in many parts of the world, the weather is turning colder, many places it's snowing. Many of you guys that are running Linux are looking for a nice, wintry desktop animation effect. And for those of you looking for a program to do this, there is one available. It's called Xnode. Now, all you need is a Linux desktop distribution that has the X11 display server installed. Xnode is available in the Arch user repositories. If you're not using Arch, Xnode may or may not be available for you in your Linux distribution repos, but you can build it from source. It's very easy. Xnode, it has animated snow that falls on your monitors. If you're using multi-monitors, you can set it to specific monitors. Also, the snow does not cover up your application windows. It actually accumulates at the top of the windows. A really nice effect. Also, you can add Santa and reindeer. You can add birds flying around to the screen. You can add a transparency. You can speed up the animations. It's a really neat little program that many of you guys don't know about. Happy holidays, guys. Peace.
Guys don't know.
Christmas is coming up in about a week. In many parts of the world, the weather is turning colder. Many places it's snowing. Many of you guys that are running Linux are looking for a nice, wintry desktop animation effect. And for those of you looking for a program to do this, there is one available. It's called Xnode. Now, all you need is a Linux desktop distribution that has the X11 display server installed. Xnode is available in the Arch user repositories. If you're not using Arch, Xnode may or may not be available for you in your Linux distribution repos, but you can build it from source. It's that falls on your monitors using multi-monitors. Repositories. If you're not using Arch, Xnode may or may not be available for you in your Linux distribution repos, but you can build it from source. It's very easy. Xnode, it has animated snow that falls on your monitors. If you're using multi-monitors, you can set it to specific monitors. Also, the snow does not cover up your application windows. It actually accumulates at the top of the windows. A really nice effect. Also, you can add Santa and reindeer. You can add birds flying around to the screen. You can add a transparency. You can speed up the animations. It's a really neat little program that many of you guys don't know about. Happy holidays, guys. Peace. Christmas is coming up in about a week, and of course, in many parts of the world, the weather is turning colder. Many places it's snowing. Many of you guys that are running Linux are looking for a nice wintry desktop animation effect. And for those of you looking for a program to do this, there is one available. It's called Xnode. Now, all you need is a Linux desktop distribution that has the X11 display server installed. Xnode is available in the Arch user repositories. If you're not using Arch, Xnode may or may not be available for you in your Linux distribution repos, but you can build it from source. It's very easy. Xnode, it has animated snow that falls on your monitors. If you're using multi-monitors, you can set it to specific monitors. Also, the snow does not cover up your application windows. It actually accumulates. To do this, there is one available. It's called Xnode. Now, all you need is a Linux desktop distribution that has the X11 display server installed. Xnode is available in the Arch user repositories. If you're not using Arch, Xnode may or may not be available for you. Transparency, you can speed up the animations. It's a really neat little program that it's very easy. You guys don't know about. It has animated snow that falls on your monitors. Multi-monitors, you can set.
As someone who uses a computer for several hours every day, I have to work at a computer and a keyboard and a mouse. I do worry about RSI.
Santa and reindeer, you can birds flying around to the screen.
I worry about things like
transparency. You can speed up the
tendonitis.
It's a really neat little program that many of you guys don't know about.
So a couple of years ago, I really started trying out different ergonomic keyboards, things like the Ergodox Easy and the Moonlander. I've made videos about both those keyboards, and I'm really happy with those purchases. I have noticed that my hands have less fatigue, less strain. But here in recent months, I've been wondering about the mouse, the standard mouse, because I've noticed I do have a lot of wrist pain on my right hand, my right wrist, that uses the optical mouse. You're always doing this windshield wiper kind of motion with the mouse, and it's very hard on your wrist. It's painful sometimes for me to have to use that mouse. So about a month ago, I purchased a Kensington Expert trackball. And I've never been a trackball
trackball mouse user. They've been around for decades. I know what they are. I understand the concept, but I always thought they were kind of a novelty idea. But I went ahead and purchased one to see if it would improve my wristband. So there are two main flavors of trackball mice. There are things like the Kensington Expert. These are called finger-operated trackballs. So what you have is a really large mouse that fills up your entire hand practically, and then you have a large trackball in the center of it, and then 4 buttons around it. Now the great thing about this is this is probably the most ergonomic.
I use Vultr. It's the one I'm going to be setting it up with in this video. Basically, you can just rent for a couple of bucks a month. I think it's like $3 a month.
Mouse
you can get
design,
a server
right?
Where you can host
Because your entire hand basically just sits on top of the ball, and you can operate the buttons with your fingers.
A year
there's no wrist movements at all. You know, there's really your hand never changes position on the mouse. So these finger-operated trackballs, of which the Kensington Expert is probably one of the most popular. It tends to be the most recommended one when I was looking for ergonomic trackball mouse. You know, the Kensington Expert kept coming up over and over again. So I went with this one. There are other types of trackball mice called thumb-operated trackballs, and these more resemble your standard mouse as far as the hand position and the buttons that are on it. The only difference, of course, is you do have the thumb trackball. Now, I ended up purchasing the Kensington Expert. You can see right now the price on Amazon runs you about 75, 80 bucks. Now, they come in two different flavors. They come in a wired version and a wireless version. They're the exact same mouse, other than one you plug in and one is wireless. Now, I bought the wired version because I like all of my devices to be wired. I've noticed, I don't know, wireless can be flaky sometimes. But other than that, the wireless and the wired version are exactly the same. Now, let me switch over to this overhead camera view so you guys can see the Kensington Expert. It comes with this detachable wrist pad. It's a really lightweight wrist pad that kind of snaps into place. It's not a very snug snap as far as the fit, but it doesn't need to be because this kind of mouse, of course, never moves, right? You're not moving it around the desk. Once you find the location that it's going to be in, it's, you know, you put your hand on it and everything is just right.